Hello everybody. Today I am here to review To Cage a God by Elizabeth May, which I was kindly sent a copy of, and I was on the book tour for it in March. So yeah, it has since been completed. I thoroughly enjoyed it and I thought, oh, I really want to share my thoughts on my YouTube channel, and that is what I am doing today. So as you can see, loads of tabs. The pink is for like spicy scenes and romance lean in, and then the yellow and orange tabs are just kind of like plot development and interesting quotes that I'd wanted to take note of. First of all, let's take a moment to just enjoy the stunning cover of this book. It is beautiful, and when you go around to the other side, you see some more detailing there with the quote, "To cage a god is divine, to be divine is to rule is to destroy." And then underneath the cover we have this beautiful emblem of what makes sense if you was to read the book. It's got sort of like characters etched into the skeleton, which is stunning and also horrifying. So this is going to be a duology, and it is an Imperial Russia inspired romantasy focusing on gods, politics and dangerous magic. It also has queer rep and disability rep, and it is just exquisitely divine. I will give you a full synopsis of this as it says on the dust jacket. In ancient secrets, Galena and Sarah's mother grafted gods into their bones, bound to brutal deities and granted forbidden power no commoner has held in 1,000 years. The sisters have been raised as living weapons. Now the time has come for them to overthrow an empire, no matter the cost. With their mother gone and their country on the brink of war, it falls to the sisters to take the helm of the rebellion and end the cruel reign of a royal family possessed by destructive gods. Because when the rule in Illyria invade, they conquer with fire and blood, and when they clash, common folk burn. Forced into a desperate plan, Sarah reunites with her estranged lover, who now leads the rebellion, while Galena infiltrates the palace. In this world of deception and danger, only refuge is an isolated princess whose whip-smart tongue and sharp gaze threaten to uncover Galena's secret. Torn between desire and duty, Galena must make a choice: work together to expose the lies of the empire, or bring it all down. This was just epic in every proportion. I felt it was a 5 out of 5 stars wholeheartedly for me. I had such a fantastic time reading this. I felt like May's writing in this was just so delicious. Like everything was just so rich and detailed and Moorish, and every time I put the book down I needed to pick it back up. What was interesting to me was I realised that I had read a book by this author before called Seven Devils, which was a duo-authored work, but that was like sort of high sci-fi. I think at the time I just wasn't into that as much, and that potentially may have suffered my enjoyment, but looking back on it now, it seems like something that I would more enjoy as I've taken a foray more into sci-fi and quite intense sci-fi as well, and I've loved it. Maybe that deserves a reread at a later date, but I definitely noticed the difference in style in general, and just tone between May's sci-fi and fantasy was just so sharp in contrast. Definitely more blown away by the fantasy side of things. I just felt like everything was just rich and developed to such an intensity that just blew me away. But as I say, maybe I should go back and give Seven Devils another chance. I never did complete that duology. There was multi-POV in this, and it was just so rich and diverse. The characters were so dimensional, they never felt flat, and all of them had purpose to building and fleshing out the story. I loved to love them, and even better in my opinion, I loved to loathe them. Isadora was a particular favourite villain. I wasn't rooting for her in any capacity, but I just loved every time she came onto the scene and fucked shit up, and it was just so deplorable. I absolutely hated her with a passion, but the villainship within her was so well done. Equally, Vitali and his kind of lovable rogue, he was just so devilishly handsome, and I don't know, there was just something about him that felt dangerous, but also like okay, you know your stuff, you know, I need you on my side, but I also don't trust you. And then it kind of extended in that way for Vasilisa and her ice cold kind of fortress guarding her heart and her emotions. I was so intrigued to learn more about her and how different she was from her mother, who was reigning emperor and completely cruel in her rulership. But yeah, just seeing these different characters blend and weave together but be so distinct in their own character progression was phenomenal. I thought it was so well written. The cultures, queer representation and themes of oppression and rebellion, and just the overall overthrowing of a corrupt hierarchy was so prevalent but also empowering, with how the rallying together of those that should be on opposing sides kind of joined forces to get rid of this bigger evil. I just thought it was fantastic. Another favorite character relationship theme that I enjoyed in this was the sisterly bond between Galena and Sarah. It was so beautiful, but also so like melancholy, how the bond was really kind of solidified by this shared childhood trauma, which was so depressing and sad. And the experience that they had together kind of just strengthened that sisterhood ever more, which I thought to be so beautiful, because it could either break and you'd be like, no, you were in that part of my life, I want to completely banish it, I don't want to think about it. But to have them like work together to really tackle the sovereign and break the hierarchy down was just so inspiring. On my written review in Storygraph and Goodreads, I do have a little bit more discussion in terms of the many different relationships and characters within this, so definitely check that out if you haven't already. But just to tie this video up, I want to touch on the magic system, which was super unique to me. I don't think I'd ever read anything quite like this, where we quite literally have the caging of these dragon-like gods within a human vessel, and the consequences of that, how that affects the bloodline, how that affects the body of that person right then and there, and just kind of how it impacts these deities over generations of being captured and encased within a human vessel, which isn't a companionship. It's not something that they want, really, you know, especially in the form of Sarah and Galena. It is a constant battle. You know, they turn to vices to kind of cope with the pain of their body and the rebellion of this beast within their body, and obviously the all encompassing power that they have as well, sometimes uncontrollable. So it was so heavy to read about, but it was so fascinating at the same time. I think in the sequel I would love to know more about the world that these beings come from, and have a little bit more of an adventure. Not necessarily an adventure where our main characters go into the portal or anything like that, although that would be cool, but more so just like another perspective, maybe of like a potential freed god. If we could just see what that plane is like, and what their life is like, and what kind of order they have, or chaos, if that, you know. But yeah, just to wrap this up, really, I thoroughly enjoyed this story. I cannot wait for the sequel, which will probably be coming out next year now, so I feel like I have to wait forever. Good things happen to those who wait, so I'm looking forward to finishing off this duology. Completely recommend To Cage a God by Elizabeth May. And yeah, I thought this was absolutely fantastic. So you guys should have to let me know if you have read this yourselves, what you thought about it. If you've read any other books by this author, what would you recommend? Maybe you suggest to give Seven Devils a go again. But for now, thank you so much for watching, and I shall catch you in another video soon. Bye. Ready to forget.